And welcome back to Paul Thomas Senior Stadium as we get set for tonight's game between the Apple Sox and the Cowlitz Black Bears. We're joined by Apple Sox outfielder Enzo Apodaca now. And Enzo, last night's performance kind of reminded me a little bit of last year. A lot of walks, 3 walks for you at the plate. You've been drawing those still in bunches here, albeit in fewer games this season compared to a year ago. What was the difference for you at the plate last night? Was it kind of, waiting to see what you could get? You did reach out at one point, but for the most part, you were pretty much ready to take all night.
Yeah, I was just trying to be as patient as possible up there. I know drawing walks is one of the key factors to my game, so just trying to keep that in the books at all time.
Staying active on the base paths, of course, nice as well. You're up, I think, now in the middle of the pack. I think you're tied for third on the Apple Sox in terms of walks drawn. Not bad for a guy who joined the team in the middle of June as well. What have you enjoyed about this summer, about things you feel like you've improved? You're coming to wrap things up. Final games are going to be these next couple of days for you. What are some things you feel like you've improved on this summer?
I think I definitely improved on my mental game. It's one thing that I struggled with in the past. I tend to get in my head a little bit, but I think this year I definitely stepped it up, definitely strengthened that mental, and it's really the most important thing in baseball is just having a strong mind, and yeah, I think that's it.
No, it's an important thing. I think it's an underrated aspect as well. We're chatting with Enzo Apodaca before tonight's game between the Apple Sox and the Black Bears. First pitch at 7:05 p.m. Enzo, you had a pretty good weekend against Walla Walla this past week on the road trip. You had the one double off of the wall, pretty close to getting out. Didn't quite get that, but we've started to see those extra base hits coming for you a little bit more regularly recently. You didn't have any for the first month of the year, but you've seen a few more non-league and league action. Has there been a tweak in your swing, or just maybe feeling more comfortable for something?
I was just trying to feel as loose as possible recently. I think in the beginning of the season I was trying to force a little bit too much out of me. Now I'm kind of just going up there, just being free and loose in my swing, and that's resulted in a lot more extra base hits and a lot more power. So yeah, I'm keep rolling with it.
You played a little bit of center, a little bit of right field last summer with the Apple Sox. Of course, this spring, primarily center with Gonzaga. How nice has it been just kind of slipping back into that here at Paul Thomas at home, just playing in center field again?
Oh, it's nice. I love center. It's my favorite spot to play in the outfield. It really feels like home out there. I feel like I play it the best out of the positions out there in the outfield. So, I mean, I loved it.
We talked about this past weekend after your performance against the Walla Walla Swedes and before that against the Kamloops Northpaws about how you've been kind of more of a run producer this season than a year ago. Last year you were kind of setting the table first, second, or ninth in the order. This year, you've been in the middle of the order a lot recently. You've talked about swinging for extra base hits. You've talked about swinging to drive in runs. Is it something that changes depending on where you're batting in the lineup?
No, not really. I batted leadoff in the spring, and I still want to drive in just as many runs as I did, even if I'm hitting in the middle lineup. I think RBIs is really important, and yeah, I produce in that situation a lot, and it's part of my game too, I guess. So that's what it is.
Another hot one tonight, as obviously right now we can feel the heat right now before batting practice and whatnot. What are ways you stay cool on days like this? Is it running up toward the misters by the bathroom in between innings? What are you doing to stay cool today?
Water. Lots of water, staying in the shade, in the dugout, maybe a few cups on my head here and there, but just drinking water. I mean, I'm from Arizona, so I'm kind of used to it a little bit, but I mean, yeah, it's still hot, and just drinking water, staying hydrated is definitely one of the most important things.
Probably glad you're not on the first base dugout, right?
Right, exactly.
Well, Enzo, thank you very much for joining us. It's been a lot of fun watching you the last couple summers. Enjoy the rest of your summer here before the school gets started.
Thank you, Joel.
That was Enzo Apodaca joining us here ahead of the Apple Sox versus the Black Bears. First pitch is right around the corner. More in a moment after these here at Paul Thomas Senior Stadium.